Good morning, UC Bearcat football fans. We are excited about the season coming up. We're going to talk some UC football on UC Bearcats on the Prowl, part of the Grueling Truth Radio Network, hosted by James Ernest and Mark Fightmaster. Mark, tell us, what have those Bearcats been up to since we spoke last?
Well, James, first of all, it's been a while, man. It's just good to talk to you. It's good to talk UC football, with last season and all the way it was hectic and crazy and not knowing what was going to happen. I will take a normal football season every day of the week. So, James, they had a good showing against Georgia at the end of the year in the bowl game, and the Bearcats have just done nothing but build momentum. I mean, I saw I believe they're ranked preseason number 8, if I saw it correctly. I know they're top 10.
Yeah, 8. And they are in the AP poll, and they're 10 in the coaches.
10 in the coaches. Well, the one that's throwing me, man, Tim Brando, he puts out his own little poll. He had them, I think he had Oklahoma 1, Alabama 2, Ohio State 3, UC 4.
Yeah, I remember seeing that, yeah.
Yeah, Tim Brando, is what it is. I'll be interested to see how the season plays out. But, James, it's going to be a fun season. I mean, not only are they ranked high, but they're going to play Indiana, who's ranked 17th, and Notre Dame, I believe, who's ranked 5th. It's going to be a lot of fun this season, and UC is going to be presented with opportunities that other, similar schools don't get. What other AAC school is going to play against Indiana, is going to play against Notre Dame? No one. So this has the potential to be an amazing season for the Bearcats.
Exactly. Now, talking about the season, we have to talk about how it ended, though. I mean, on one hand, they did put a good showing. Heck, at one point, they're up 11 points, but end up getting, the field goal where they were losing by a point, and then they get safetied. I mean, that has to hurt.
It does. But there's a couple ways to look at it. Yeah, they did show well, but, man, they should have won it. So now what Fickle can do is, and the good thing is not a lot of kids graduated. They were pretty junior heavy last year. Yeah, we lost a couple offensive linemen. We've lost a few people here and there, but they're returning the entire defensive backfield. They're returning the quarterback, all that stuff. He can use that for motivation for this team. You guys had it. You had it, and you lost it. Now we get to go back out and prove, what we can do. Nobody believes in you, even though they're rated number 8. Nobody's going to believe in you because of the way the season finished, whatever. He can use it as a motivator. And I'll tell you what, man, one thing that Fickle has proven is he can motivate the hell out of that team. So, it sucks that it ended the way it did. But it also gives you some hope,
You are correct on a lot of the defense coming back, a lot of the offense is coming back. Like you said, the big part, the offensive line, is where they did lose people. And then on the defense, it's the safeties. That's where we lost people because we ended up losing, one was to, what were the two?
Well, we lost Wiggins and Forrest, and I think, aren't they both on
NFL
rosters right now?
Yeah, Wiggins went to the Cardinals, and Forrest went to the Washington football team.
Yeah, the Washington football club, whatever. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, exactly.
You got Reds out, and I knew what you were talking about.
Exactly.
So, yeah. You're right, man. We did lose those, so it's going to be tough to replace them, and it is going to be really, really tough to replace those tackles. Man, when you got studs on the edges to stop that rush, it makes your quarterback so comfortable. So we're going to have to see what they can do to replace those two also.
Yeah, because just like the safeties, both of those linemen, James Hudson and Darius Harper, they're both in the NFL. I mean, James is with the Browns and Harper's with the Chargers.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, Hudson was drafted by the Browns. It wasn't one of these, free agent signings. I think he was drafted.
He was drafted. You're right. Yeah.
But he was drafted, so which just shows how good he really was. So yeah, you're right, man. It's going to be tough without those two. It's going to be tough without the two safeties, and it's kind of interesting how those two positions that we had the people leave and go to the NFL are the two anchors. Safeties are really kind of the anchor of the defense. I mean, you look at Bates on the Bengals and what he brings to the Bengals. That's what the safeties brought to the Bearcats. And then your tackles. I mean, everything in the passing game runs through your tackles. Because if they can't hold it down, where you can't get the pass off. So we'll see. There are 4 big spots to fill.
That's why they got me really optimistic with Tunstall from Stony Brook, who transferred in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was going to say he played on a lower level, but he has got so much talent and has just been doing phenomenal. I mean, 6'5", 305, he's a nice big guy to really anchor that line.
Yeah, he's a big kid. The athleticism is the only spot that concerns me, because coming from Stony Brook, the lower level, usually when you are at a lower level school, it's that athleticism that you lack. So we'll see. We'll see. I haven't seen the kid play yet, so we'll see.
The good news about that is actually he was originally a UConn guy, but then ended up going to Stony Brook because of issues.
Okay, and that's good. That's good. So we will, big shoes to fill, but if they can get those 4 spots locked down, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, definitely. I mean, they got a lot of great things going for them. Actually, I am looking forward to not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday, I'm going to speak to their first opponent, Chuck Martin.
Oh, really? Okay, yep. Very cool.
You're going to have him on my other show, and going to have him talk all about Miami football. It's kind of a little fun preview of UC's opponent.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool. And it's always good to get an opposing coach's point of view because, and I think especially, Chuck, because, well, I mean, he knows it. They're outgunned. They're outmanned. And he's going to tell you the truth. So it'll be interesting to hear what he has to say. That'll be
exactly. Good. Yeah, he's not one of the shy away from the truth. He'll be honest with you and just straight shooter, saying that, hey, you know what, we might be outgunned, but this is really going to be an opportunity because this is going to be one of those where no one's expecting them anything. So no matter what they do, for the most part, it should be a positive.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, James. I just sit here and I think, God, it is so cool to think that UC football is one of the big dogs right now. It's just so cool. And you know me. We've been doing the show, 2-3 years now. I am an Ohio State football fan. I grew up an Ohio State football fan, but I'm a UC alum, and I always root for UC. And just to think that right now they're considered pretty much on the same level, this is going to be so cool. This is going to be just so much fun to watch.
Definitely. And, of course, the reason why, or one of the main reasons why, is Desmond Ridder. I mean, a lot of people were saying that he almost left last year with him having a baby on the way back then. Now, of course, he has a baby. And, just all the things. They were talking about him being a potential draft pick, but a later pick. And then, fortunately, he decided to come back to be potentially a top draft pick this year.
Yeah, and James, I don't know how active you are on Twitter. I'm on Twitter and I follow the Reese's Senior Bowl because I like to just see what's going on, pick their brains and all that. And they actually put an article up. It was just a short blurb. It wasn't a huge, long article. But last year, they had a Desmond Ridder jersey ready because they figured he was coming out and they were going to allow him to play in the Senior Bowl because he would have declared for the draft. So they had a spot ready for him.
Ooh.
So, and what was interesting is the article was also just saying, well, now we can just keep it for this coming year. Because,
nice.
That's how highly he was thought of. And man, I'll be the first to say it. When he was younger, I was one of his biggest detractors.
Yeah.
I didn't think he had what he needed. He didn't have what it takes to play the position. But dude, he was young. And young kids make mistakes, and the thing is he has learned from those mistakes. And he is going to take that into the season. We'll see what he can do. What he's got, Josh Kyle, the tight end again.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm remembering correctly, he was his top target last year.
Oh, yeah.
He threw more passes to Wild than anyone else.
Exactly. He had 28 grabs, 353 yardage. I mean, 6 scores. I mean, he did an amazing job of that team together.
Yeah. So we'll see. There's always a little bit of concern to me when your top target is your tight end, just because I worry about the quality of the receivers around him. But when they can make the matchups, so it's a tight end on a linebacker or a tight end even on a defensive end dropping back in coverage, then the scheme allows for him to become your leading receiver. And if they're taking advantage of the scheme, then it's awesome.
Definitely.
And that also shows that Rither knows, he can recognize when he's got the mismatches and go to the big tight end.
I agree with you, because that is usually a red flag that, hey, if we're just focusing on the tight end, why aren't the receivers getting involved? But then again, Young, he was one of the all-ACC seniors for wide receiver.
You're right. Yeah, and it's going to be interesting, just to watch it. But when we talk about the Bearcats offense, James, what we have to remember is we just need them to not lose the game, because this team is truly built on the defense.
Exactly.
So it's like we need the offense to go out, hold the ball, grind a little bit of the clock, don't turn it over, put up 3 scores. I mean, seriously, if you think about it, at least definitely in the AAC, that's the formula to win. That's a formula to win the league, is to put 3-4 scores up a game, don't turn it over. When you're rolling out a defense like UC has, and it's good. Now, what concerns me is when we play Indiana, when we play Notre Dame, what kind are we going to get into a shootout? And can this offense keep up with a shootout? Especially we lost Dokes as well, didn't we? The running back, he graduated.
Yes, we did.
Okay. Yeah,
and it's not even him as a running back that I'm worried about. It's him as a blocker that I'm more worried about losing.
Mhm. Yeah, what? You're right. So, and what I think it's going to, since Dokes is gone, and this may sound crazy, but I think Rither may end up being the leading rusher for the team because he's so mobile. But then we also got the kid from Alabama.
Ford. Ford's a beast.
Who showed some flashes last year. So it's going to definitely be interesting on offense, as far as what they can do. But again, this is a Luke Fickell team, and Luke Fickell builds his team around defense because he was a defensive coordinator. He learned from Jim Tressel, whose teams were built around solid defenses. Not like the Ryan Day teams now, who is all offense. So, you got Jim Tressel mindset. And, I mean, speaking of Jim Tressel, I guess I can go ahead and kind of touch on what I think is going to be the biggest concern for me is that we lost Marcus Freeman, the defensive coordinator. And I tie that in with Tressel because it's Mike Tressel who's taking over for him. So can Mike Tressel run this defense at the level Marcus Freeman did? So that's my big concern when it comes to defense, James.
I agree with you. Yeah, I was going to say that is the big question. That is the big issue because, I mean, like you said, a lot of the same players are coming back. They got more experience. Heck, they even got a really great incoming freshman class. So we got a lot of really good things going on. I mean, there are a couple players that we did lose to transfers and that kind of thing because my other school, the University of Northern Colorado, I know they got at least one of our linebackers.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to covering him, but out there, because I'm going to cover both. That's going to be the fun thing.
Oh, very cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Ed McCaffrey's the coach out there.
Oh, that's awesome. I did not know that, man. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. God, he was a fun receiver. My concern with Mike Tressel is he doesn't need to reinvent the wheel.
Exactly.
He needs to just go with Marcus Freeman's schemes, change the terminology, whatever you want to do to make it your own, but don't go doing too much. This was a very solid defense. The schemes were good. They were hard to play against. They were hard to game plan against for offenses because once you think you shut them down, stop the defense in one area, somebody else showed up. You stop the blitz in the A gap, but there's somebody coming around the outside. You got people dropping and stuff. That's what they need to do. And so I really hope Mike Tressel doesn't try to reinvent the wheel per se. And the other thing that sucks, man, Marcus Freeman with the Notre Dame, and we got to play against him. So, and plus he knows the offense. So that could be fun in that matchup.
Yeah, that is a big concern because, like you say, I mean, he already knows everything about the team. Gosh. I mean, and going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't see them completely overhauling every formation on the offense. Now, granted, Freeman was the defensive coordinator, so who knows how much attention he paid to the offense.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they go up against each other in practice every once in a while. So we'll see. James, I'm excited for the season, and I don't know the last time that I really said that about a UC football season. Last year, I looked forward to it, because they had a chance to be good and they had a chance to do things. This year, I'm like literally excited for it, and that's not a feeling I've ever had for UC football.
I was excited last year until all the craziness and the shenanigans happened, and it, kind of soured you a little bit. I mean, fortunately, it was a great season still, but like when they lost their non-conference games, because they would have played Nebraska, so I mean they would have played a Big Ten opponent. They lost the Miami game, and I forget what the Give Me game is that they lost, but they ended up losing, access to those 3 games, and I think that also hurt their ability when it came towards the end of the season to justify and say, hey, we deserve to be here. Obviously, they're starting in a better place this season, starting in 8th, starting in 10th, so that is going to help them to begin with. And then the fact that they actually have those mountains that they can climb, because when you take away the mountains and you just got flat terrain, no one really cares.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, how with the COVID stuff, how that really screwed up last season. It really tampered the excitement, or really, just took a sledgehammer to it. And it made it tough. It made it tough. And I do remember I was reading something earlier today. This one outlet, and I can't remember which it was. It might have been College Football News. It might have been College Football Press. I can't remember. They had them at the beginning of last year rated 50th, and then they were 9th at the end of the year. And you touched on something that was huge. They're 8th at the beginning of this year, man. They're 8th. They're already in the spotlight. They're already in the media's they're on the media's radar. You know what I'm saying? Instead of, oh, hey, look, it's cute. It's Cincinnati from the AAC. They're 23rd in the poll, and they're undefeated. Now it's going to be, oh, look, UC is 8th, and they've won their first 2 games, and they're going into a big showdown with Indiana at Indiana.
Exactly.
And I don't have the schedule in front of me, James, but I think like the 3rd game and the 5th game is when they play Indiana and then Notre Dame. I'm not sure. It's
3rd and 4th
week, maybe 3rd and 4th. So it's back to back.
Yeah. Yep.
Right,
no, I got those marked on the calendar. I am so excited. I was going to say, unfortunately, I'm not excited about the amount of time I'm going to be spending in my car, but I am excited about the games because I do look forward to going to Indiana. I look forward to going to Notre Dame for the 2nd time and seeing those beautiful stadiums and just seeing the crowds and just hopefully seeing UC shut them up.
Yeah, and it's something that we'll touch on when we preview the UC Indiana game and the UC Notre Dame game. But Ohio State knows how hard it is to win in Indiana.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a test, man. I don't care that Indiana's rated I think they're rated 17th overall right now or something like that. I don't care because Indiana is a good, fast team, and it's going to be interesting to see how that matches up with the defense. They play good football, and it's the kind of football the UC is kind of built to play. So and then it'll be interesting when they play Notre Dame because Notre Dame supposedly gets the best of the best. My only concern with the Notre Dame game is, man, every year isn't Notre Dame ranked like 4th or 5th in the country to start the season off?
Usually, yes, but they're ranked 9th, and we're ranked 8th. So
okay, cool.
They got a chip on their shoulder because they're going to be like, we're being disrespected.
Yeah, hey, yeah, that'll be interesting. Plus, it's Brian Kelly. So, it'll be there's going to be plenty of storylines behind those games, and we can go into those later. But it's just those. I mean, we're going to know what's going to happen in those 2 games, and it's in this season. Whether it's going to be a shot at the championship or whether it's going to be a shot at the New Year's Day Bowl or just playing one of the better bowls, we'll know after the 4th week.
Exactly.
So, and then, because even though their schedule gets a lot easier, well, not a lot easier, but gets easier after those 2 games, it's very hard and you have seen this as we watch the polls, it's very difficult for a team to drop when they're winning the games they're supposed to win. Like look at Clemson. We can talk about how the ACC is not that strong. But they go out and they win those early games that they're supposed to win, and then they're already up there, and then it's tough to knock them out. So that's what we have to hope happens is that UC wins those 2 games, gets bumped up to a 3 or 4 spot, and then wins all the games they're supposed to win.
Exactly. Yeah, because there's no one at the rest of the season other than maybe when they play in the championship game that really is going to give them a boost. Like you said, it's more of it's more they could lose something versus they can win something in any of these games.
Right. I think going into the 3rd and 4th game, there is far more to lose almost. You know what I'm saying? Because if they win those games, that's awesome, and they're up there. But, man, if they lose those games, it's going to be really difficult to get back up.
Exactly.
To climb the hill again. It can happen. Look at Ohio State when they won the national championship that first year of the playoffs. They lost to Virginia Tech early, but then they were able to come through and win the games they were supposed to win, and then they started destroying people at the end. So maybe there's a chance, but losing both of them would be disaster.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that would be a rough one. So it sounds like we're excited. We're excited about the upcoming season. Of course, I want to give a shout out to Let It Fly.
Yeah.
Have you got to watch any of it?
I have not. Yet. I'm hoping to catch up. What outlet's it on?
Oh, it's on YouTube.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's why I want to try and catch up and do a little binge watching. Things are getting a little hectic here on the Fightmaster compound with with all the kids in school and all that stuff. So I have been. I will be able to catch up over the weekend though.
Well, I was going to say the good news is they're only about 15 minutes long, so it's not anything too bad. So right now there's only been 3. I think there's a 4th one coming up on Thursday. So you got an hour at most.
Dude, that's better than binging some crap show on Netflix or Hulu.
So. Exactly. And, so far the first one talks about the weight room, the second one talks about the family, then the third one talks about higher ground. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the 4th one's going to be about. But, I definitely recommend checking those out. And definitely. And, of course, as always, I recommend our listeners check out the rest of the Grueling Truth lineup. We have all the football covered from NFL to college and everything in between, and heck, we even have some high school. So got some great things going on with the Grueling Truth, and definitely tune in again next week. Any final thoughts, Mark?
No, man, just fasten your seatbelts, buckle up your chin straps. This is going to be a fun season.